Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegramnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegramnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegramnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegramnews.com.
Check it out.
Well, happy morning to everyone out there, and welcome to the morning show, the day after Halloween. It's the 1st of November, Pete.
Oh, does that mean it's going to start getting cold again? It probably is, right?
Well, not this week. It's not. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Another beautiful fall week, so that's good. So I get in my car this morning, and I either go back and forth between like the Sirius XM. I have this one station I was telling James about. I'm like totally obsessed with this station that they just put on there. It's called Red, White, and Booze. And I know that sounds really weird, but it's classic country, like on up to like through 90s country. And then they throw classic rock in there too. Okay. So it's just this really cool conglomeration of like music that I really enjoy. So I get in my car this morning and I flip back and forth between that and, of course, like our local radio stations. And it was on that. And I hear Garth Brooks singing White Christmas. And I look down and they have taken off my Red, White, and Booze channel. And they put on Country Christmas. It is the 1st of November. I am really, really mad.
I think it's serious. If you go up and down the dial, you'll hit some Christmas stuff about November the 1st.
Isn't
certainly
that crazy?
Certainly before the Thanksgiving weekend, which is kind of the traditional
that I get. November 1st,
of.
I don't get, and I am maybe going to write a strongly worded letter about that.
Okay. Walmart started celebrating Christmas about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's out there. It's out there.
I don't get it.
Everybody wants to get ahead of it.
I guess so.
On the commercial side.
But that's neither here nor there. That's just my story. But we had a lot of fun yesterday here on Halloween. Played Family Feud. You came in. We did some fun stuff. So we appreciate that. Lots of fun costumes running around the, I guess, office building. In general,
right, yeah, it was definitely a happy Halloween here. So
it was.
Thank everybody for participating in that and getting in the spirit and the hierarchy for setting the table.
That's exactly right. So anyway, so we're back here. It is November 1st. So we've gotten Halloween out of the way. And now we can focus on one of most people's favorite traditions as well. And that's the Thanksgiving holiday, where there's no pressure other than cooking.
And eating. And how much you eat.
Yes, all of that. They are saying there's a turkey shortage this year, just to let you all know.
Okay.
So get your turkeys early.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's my tip of the day.
Like everything else, it'll be up 8% or more.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, but you didn't come in here to talk about any of that. You came in to talk about the news, which is wild. Right. To begin the 1st of the month.
Well, it really is. You know, we try to keep up on the law enforcement and criminal justice front because, those stories are interesting and it's happening in our own backyard. You don't have to flip onto one of the national channels to see the crazy things that are happening and the bad things. Mm-hmm. Some of them are bad too, but we've had a few of those and we've collected information on most of them. That's going to lead our little news review here to start out. And we're going to start out with a story out of Benton County that happened this weekend, and it really is a sad story all the way around. And it happened in the Moonville area, that we know
Okay.
so well.
Sure.
But there is a rail trail there that has become very popular for hikers, bikers, et cetera, out there in nature, in the Moonville area, in the Zaleski State Forest, and they keep adding and improving that rail trail. And obviously, as the tourism increases and more people become aware of the great outdoors, very close to home here in Vinton County, they take advantage of it. And what better time than a sunny, warm October where you have all that fall color out there?
Absolutely.
But it turned in an event like that turned into a nightmare for a local woman. This occurred once again on Saturday, reported by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office. We have the story online already. Of course, it will be featured prominently in our print edition out tomorrow.
Okay.
But it was a attack by 3 pit bull dogs that occurred on the rail trail. Woman, her name was Eva Simons. It was not released by the sheriff's office as a victim, but it was out there on social media from reliable sources, the Moonville Rail Trail Association. They were very concerned, obviously, about the incident as well. But she was 64 years old, and was biking on the trail. She was staying in a cabin there, so it was a recreational trip for her.
Okay. Is she
It's recreational or
from the
vacation.
local area?
We
or-
don't have a home address for her, but we know that she was staying at a cabin or renting a cabin there in that area, and she was biking on the trail when this happened on Saturday. She went for a ride on a mountain bike along Shea Road, which is part of the rail trail. While riding past a residence on that road, 3 dogs described as pit bull mixed canines attacked her. And the attack went on for approximately 20 minutes before the attack went on for about 20 minutes before another vehicle came on the scene. And the person or persons in that vehicle were able to get between her and the dogs. They were able to kind of chase the dogs away and help her. It was obvious that she suffered potentially serious injuries that were visible. They took her to the Hocking Valley Community Hospital, which is in Logan, and from there they flew her to Columbus to a larger hospital for further treatment.
Oh my God.
And according to social media posts from those close to the victim, her injuries have resulted in the amputation of her left leg. So very serious at the knee and below.
Oh my
The
gosh.
reconstruction of her right leg. She's taken 4 rabies shots as a precaution. The update also states, the attack went on for 20 minutes. They expect her to be hospitalized for at least a week, followed by 2 weeks of rehabilitation, and then she'll get a prosthetic limb to replace the part of the leg that she lost. The Sheriff's Office is investigating it. The Moonville Rail Trail Association, which kind of oversees, the development and management of the trail up there, are working with the Sheriff's Office on this. They report that they expect the 3 dogs to be destroyed, which they think should happen. The dogs should have been on a leash. They were not. I've heard unofficially that the dogs were actually contained but nobody was home and they had gotten out of their enclosure somehow, and they were not on a leash. And so we'll see what happens as far as the investigation is concerned there. But once again, a dog attack, how many of us have been out on a rural road or whatever?
Never would think that in 100 million years.
On a bike or hiking or whatever. And you hear a dog come out of a yard. It's not on a leash. It comes up to you. I've never, ever been bitten. But there's been times where I think I was about ready to be. And, you back up and you try to get in a defensive posture or whatever. But this was a case where this lady was by herself. It was 3 dogs, not just one. And she truly was mauled by those 3 dogs.
That is horrific.
So that was one of the stories, that we're working on, that we'll have a story on. We do have a story already. A second story, we just finished getting all the information on this yesterday. It actually occurred exactly a week ago on Monday, on the 24th, almost right outside this office. out on East Main Street in front of O'Reilly's Auto Parts.
Yeah, there was a big old hubbub, but I never did hear what it was.
It was, and at the time, we didn't know exactly what had occurred there. There was a thought that there was a medical situation, not any kind of criminal thing or a wreck or anything.
Yeah.
Because a woman suffered serious injuries there. But what happened was, and this story is also online and will be in our Wednesday print edition. It occurred at 10:33 a.m., as we said, right out in front of O'Reilly's Auto Parts, 680 East Main Street. A 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee was heading westbound on Main Street, that's towards town, when it lost control, drove onto the sidewalk, ran over a no parking sign, and then struck a pedestrian, 29-year-old Katrina Lawhead of MacArthur. After the vehicle struck Katrina, it left the scene.
They took off?
They took off, according to the report we have from the Jackson Police Department. The Jeep regained control, went back on the road, and fled the scene. The vehicle, the Jeep, struck the pedestrian hard enough, according to police, that it ripped off the front bumper cover. And on the front bumper cover was the front license plate. So it was an easy trace for the police department. And
it's not funny, but good grief.
Right, but that was a a lot of times law enforcement they look at a part, a mirror, whatever, and they get in the vehicle registration, how many vehicles, it's a very hard, but at least you have a clue. In this case, the front license plate was left at the scene.
Okay.
And now think of the impact there for the front bumper to come off.
Front. Well, no, yes.
So anyway, once again, the victim, Katrina M. Lawhead, she lives on MacArthur Park Drive in MacArthur. She was seriously injured.
She was
airlifted from the scene to St. Mary's Regional Medical Center. Her injuries were initially termed as serious. All right. So on the other end of the investigation, they were able to identify the driver as Ruth Hoyt, age 64, of Dixon Run Road, Jackson. Now, if that name rings just a little bit of a bell, Ruth Hoyt was the Oak Hill Union Local school bus driver who was involved in a minor mishap driving her school bus just very recently, just a week or so ago, where the bus drove off the road. She didn't have any children or students on the bus at the time, but when she was turning a corner, her bus went off the road into a ditch, and the patrol reported on that. We reported on that as well. She was cited with failure to control as a result of that accident, even though nobody was hurt and the bus didn't incur serious damage. But this was the same person, according to police, who was involved in this hit-and-run pedestrian wreck.
This seems weird.
She was not injured in the bus accident either. That accident with the pedestrian remains under investigation. I'm sure some charges are pending on that. But as of when we checked yesterday, there had been no charges filed yet. But the driver has been identified, and I know has at least been brought into custody for questioning.
Well, I knew there was something. It was literally right outside the parking lot here, and the police were there for such a long time. I figured there was something out of the ordinary. It wasn't a normal traffic stop or something like that.
I think a couple folks, even from our news department, had noticed, but there was no other vehicle parked there, and they thought.
That explains why.
Their initial thought was, we had a medical situation, a woman that passed out for whatever reason. But what had happened was she had actually been hit by this hit and run Jeep. So
wow.
So there may be more news coming out on that, of course, as the investigation continues. Yeah. But that was one of the stories that we have worked on. This story was in the paper last week, but we haven't mentioned it yet on TV. But this involves some alleged corruption. I guess now we can say confirmed corruption in Vinton County with former Vinton Township fiscal officer Cy Viersta. Mm-hmm. Cy Viersta, that was his proper name. He legally had his name changed to just Cy several years ago. And When he was the Vinton Township fiscal officer for a number of years, back in 2020, July 9, 2020, Vinton County Auditor Cindy Wall was informed of insufficient funds in the township's account. She found questionable charges to the township's debit and credit cards. This launched an investigation that involved the state auditor's office. As a result, Cy Viersta was charged with 13 felony counts. The new development there, because this incident, this situation, has been spread out over years. The latest development is that last week, Cy pled guilty to 6 of the 13 charges against him. Among the charges that were filed against him were engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. That is a first-degree felony. That's as high as it gets. Theft in office, telecommunications fraud, and theft. He entered guilty pleas to 6 of the total of 13 counts. An audit and investigation determined that between January 2016 and July 2020, Cy used the township debit and credit cards and issued checks on the township bank account for expenditures for his personal benefit, renovations to his residence, and a nonprofit wildlife refuge, which he was locally known as the Union Ridge Wildlife Center. Also uncovered was evidence that Cy created and uttered numerous false records, including invoices, billing slips, and other purchase and payment documents, along with falsifying copies of township trustee minutes in an effort to disguise what he had done. These false and fictitious records were provided by Cy as supporting documentation for certain questioned expenditures. They figured it all out. They determined in an audit that the township, due to this theft, had lost, are you ready for this, $287,565.11. This is a small, lightly populated township in Vinton County, Vinton Township in the Wilkesville area.
Wow.
Right. During a hearing in Vinton County Common Pleas Court, he withdrew his former pleas of not guilty to 6 of those charges, and the court did accept his guilty plea. I'm not sure. I presume that the legal proceeding will continue on the other charges unless somehow they get dismissed. This was not a plea bargain. This was just him.
Oh, it's not.
Not according to the information we have. It was just him pleading guilty to 6 of the 13 charges. A pre-sentence investigation has been ordered. Sentencing is expected to take place sometime in 2023. As far as possible punishment for what he has pled guilty to, a maximum prison term of 20 years is possible, a fine of $60,500, and restitution, I presume because of interest and other things, could be as much as $330,000. He is also never allowed to hold public office or position of public trust again. So that is a major story, kind of a white-collar thing out of Vinton County. We've reported on that before, and the wheels of justice grind very slowly, all the discovery that has to take place and so forth. Complicated crime, but this was the big latest development there.
Especially when there's a lot of numbers to crunch, things like that. It takes a while.
Right, it does. And interesting that, the complaint came before the auditor, Cindy Wall, in the Vinton County Auditor, Cindy Wall, in 2020, and this alleged activity took place as long as 4 years before it was caught.
Man.
All right. So another incident in Jackson that got a little of attention over the weekend was a crash involving a pickup truck driver. This occurred Saturday evening, just before 7 o'clock, and it caused a little of attention in the city of Jackson because a pickup truck that had been driven on State Route 32, heading west, went off the roadway there on kind of back of where Redonda Drive is. And the truck went off the road, went up a steep embankment, through a tree line, through a fence line, and ended up on state property just outside the Redonda Drive subdivision, just yards away.
AKA Courtney's yard.
Yes, just yards away from a backyard there on Redonda Drive. of course, caused a lot of stir among the neighbors
Sure.
there.
I can see why a rando vehicle just shows up in your
Heavy front
backyard.
end damage to that pickup truck. And as a result, the lady, the driver involved in there was 63-year-old Janet Robinson of South Webster. If you saw the pickup truck, the damage on the pickup truck, and
It was bad.
yeah,
Oh, there
it is right there.
Yeah, it
We've
was
actually
really bad.
got that story online. We had it online this weekend. You can see that one of the tires came off. The truck at one point was overturned. You can see the heavy front end damage there. You would guess some serious injuries there.
For sure.
Well, as it turned out, she was able to get out of the truck. They thought that she was okay. She complained of injuries. They took her to EMS, took her to Holzer Medical Center, Jackson. She was initially released. However, follow-up information, we learned that now she is in the hospital in Columbus at the Wexner Medical Center in
Okay.
Columbus, recovering with some substantial injuries.
Gotcha.
So she told the highway patrol, this was a one-vehicle wreck. There wasn't like a deer involved or a failure to control as far as, just not paying attention or falling asleep.
Yeah.
What she told officers or troopers at the scene was that all she remembers is blacking out. And the next thing, she wakes up or she comes to,
Sure.
in the truck near this Redondo Drive property
Wow.
in Jackson. So she was charged with failure to control. No matter what the cause is, she wasn't able to control her
Right.
vehicle, so she was charged there. At the time, the patrol considered it next to a non-injury or minor injury incident. But since then, we have received electronic communications from at least two family members that she was actually seriously hurt,
Oh,
as it
man.
turned out, and is in the hospital in Columbus, or at least was on our last information that we knew about on Monday. That story also, Jennifer, is online and will be in our Wednesday print edition. Okay, this is another one from the criminal justice front, and it's a county away, but I think it's interesting enough to mention to you. This involves two law enforcement officers in Pike County.
Okay.
All right. Two men who worked for the Vinton, or not the Vinton, the Pike County Sheriff's Office. They are Jeremy Mooney, age 47, he's from Piketon, and William Stansberry Jr., age 46, from Chillicothe, both employees of the Pike County Sheriff's Office. They have been indicted and charged in federal court for their mishandling and their use of force involving a criminal defendant. According to the indictment, which was in federal court, Mooney reportedly used pepper spray and struck the victim while the victim was being restrained and was not posing a threat. The indictment charges that Mooney's conduct involves the use of a dangerous weapon resulting in bodily injury to the defendant.
Oh, my.
Stansberry is not accused of committing any violence, but he's the supervisor, and he was there and he let it happen. And he is also being held accountable for what happened to this criminal defendant. He was aware that Mooney, who was under his direction, was using unreasonable force and did not intervene, even though he had the opportunity to do so. If convicted, these two deputies, maybe former deputies now, or I'm sure, obviously off work right now,
Right.
face a maximum of 10 years imprisonment.
Each
So-
one?
Each man
Man,
could face
oh, wow.
10 years imprisonment. And this was investigated through the United States Attorney's Office, through the Southern District Court of Ohio. They do remind that it's at an indictment stage only. These men have not been convicted yet, but
Right.
these are the serious crimes which they are accused of.
Yikes.
A behind the scenes thing. The story did not say how this information came to light, because, a lot of times law enforcement officers are dealing with criminals or alleged criminals or suspects behind the scenes, questioning and all like that. But once again, that involves two Pike County deputies.
Man.
All right, Jennifer, I know that we've had some great weather in October, sunny and all like that.
Blessing and a curse, right?
Well, it is because of the dry conditions that have resulted. All those leaves on the ground, highly combustible situation if the wind is
Big
blowing.
time. Yeah.
And, what are people doing out on their property before it gets cold? They're trying to clean their property up, and that usually involves some burning. And I think some people know better, some people may be ignorant. There is no open burning in the state of Ohio on certain months. October is one of them because of the threat of wildfires, brush fires.
Yes.
And there have been a number of them. I know, that came out last week, in the Jackson area. I think that was probably reported here on TV, and I know it was on the paper.
Yep.
Well, there was another big fire this last weekend in the Oak Hill area. It was
man.
It was at 2:30 p.m. last Friday on Swan Airport Road. And this was responded to by the Madison Jefferson Fire Department with some help from the Bloomfield Fire Department.
Okay.
And it involves about nearly 10 acres of property. A man, property owner, was burning debris in a fire pit, and it jumped.
It happens so fast.
It jumped the fire pit, and you'd have to go with a firefighter or maybe even participate to know how hard it is to fight these brush and wood fires, because the wind's blowing. It's hard to keep up with it.
One leaf that's on fire goes this way,
right?
Falls over here.
Right, and so you can imagine what this is like trying to fight that fire in that fire gear and all like that. I talked with Captain Daniel Parker of the Madison Jefferson Fire Department over the weekend. He feels that the quick response of the fire department and what they did, they certainly fought these brush fires before. They're used to it. They were able to get it before it went into a swampy area with lots of thickets where they just wouldn't have been able to follow it very well. They would have had to go out and basically surround it from another direction to keep it from going too far.
Sure.
No property damage, no man-made structures were threatened with where this was and the way the wind was blowing. But Parker told me that if it would have got into this swampy area, even though it's a swamp, there's still, a lot of dryness in there. He said that it probably could have burned 100 acres, and they would have been involved for hours and hours trying to put it out before it got into a dangerous place, threatening homes and other structures. So, there's a lesson involved in here. We will say it again. Open burning from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is prohibited in the state of Ohio. You could be cited. It is against the law.
Don't do it, especially right now.
And if you are looking at your watch, it's 6 o'clock. Yes, you can do open burning then, but your fire has to be contained and covered. It just can't be open. You just can't have a barrel where smoke and ashes and whatever can come out. You've got to have that fire covered.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it would be better not to have any fire at all myself.
Don't have any fire at all right now until we get some rain. It's just good practice to not do that. And then if you do, have a garden hose there.
Quick story. I was driving down the road with Porterhouse the other day, and we saw the biggest cloud of smoke you've ever seen in your life. And he had to be nosy. He's like, oh, something's going on down there. We're going to go see this. This guy had the tiniest little pile of leaves that he was burning. And the amount of smoke that was creating looked like the house was on fire.
Which he shouldn't have been doing, right?
He
absolutely should not be doing that.
Yeah.
Right. And,
crazy.
It might be just not people, doing wood debris or whatever. People may want to burn their leaves. That just isn't what you need to do. Even if you're out in the country and you think, well, I'm going to watch it and all, it can really get away from you. Now, we did have a little bit of rain over the weekend. That was helpful. But, of course, it does dry up very quickly. The leaves are still falling.
We have not had enough rain to make a difference for that.
We look at the forecast and we smile. Oh, it's going to be mild. And we don't see much rain in the forecast, but that is once again a danger signal for the threat of more brush fires / wildfires.
Just don't. There's no leaf burning in the world that's worth burning down half the countryside or someone's home or barn or whatever.
Right.
It's not that important.
Yeah, you need
let the leaves lay. They're good for the ground anyway.
Right, for compost and so forth.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll turn to something more positive now, all right?
Okay, we like positive.
Okay, Jackson will be getting, probably sometime in 2023, it'll be done, a new Mexican restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It is Casa Grande.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've driven along East Main Street there in front of where the old Meridian plant used to be and just to the west of the McCarty Crossing Shopping Center, That excavation taking place is going to be the site of the new Casa Grande restaurant. And speaking of a formal groundbreaking, it is going to occur today
Okay.
at 11 o'clock. And, the Total Media news team will be there to cover it, with photos, video, news coverage, etc.
Okay.
Everybody always gets excited about a new restaurant. We posted that, on the website and on Facebook and Twitter and whatever. It's just exploded. People are very excited about another place that they can eat.
Yeah.
And just a little bit about the project. We'll probably tell you more later in the week after the groundbreaking. But the owners are Juan Francisco and Carlos Ortiz, and they are not new to the restaurant business. They're not from Jackson, but they feel there's an opportunity here. They own Casa Grande Mexican restaurants that are already in South Point and New Boston. So there may be some people who have tried that. They are also the owners of the Tuscany Italian restaurant in Gallipolis, which I know some people here in Jackson and Vinton counties have probably tried out. And so they also have the El Colonial Mexican restaurant, which is a different brand of Mexican restaurant. That's in Ashland. They also have Fratelli's Italian restaurant in Barboursville, West Virginia. So they are certainly experienced hands at restaurant. And the groundbreaking, once again, is at 11 o'clock today. We'll have coverage from that. Our own company, Stockmeister Construction Services, will be doing the construction work on that. They're already obviously started on that, on the excavation. But they will offer, obviously, Mexican food, desserts made from scratch, and also delicious margaritas and other alcoholic beverage options. So they will obviously have a liquor license of 2. It will be 5,200 square feet, and they expect to be open for business in approximately 8 months. So you look at the calendar, that's about May, June, somewhere next year. That, of course, a lot of variables in there, usually the weather. Usually the weather. So we will see what happens there. Another groundbreaking that's going to occur, we'll tell you a lot more about that after it happens. We'll be covering that. Buckeye Community Services, which is located here in Jackson, is going to build a new group home for the last time I knew there were 8 females that were in the current group home on South Street, just across the street from Cardo's there. I believe it's 6 West South Street. That house, of course, is multi-story. The new group home will be 1 floor, will be much more modern, will work much better. It is going to be located on Pearl Street behind the PNC Bank. If you can visualize where that is. That groundbreaking will be tomorrow at noon.
Okay.
And we'll be reporting on that. BCS we'll learn then on what the construction schedule is on there. But haven't seen any dirt flying there yet. But they are going to have a formal groundbreaking tomorrow, and we'll be covering that as well. All right. We really haven't thought too much about COVID-19 lately at all, but it's kind of reared its head, at least in one isolated way. We received information from the Oak Hill Public Library yesterday that the library will be closed through the remainder of the week, hopes to reopen on Monday, November 7th, because four of the staff members have COVID-19.
Wow.
So once again, the library there on Front Street in Oak Hill closed until November 7th due to COVID-19 cases on the staff. I know that they were closed one time earlier when the COVID-19 cases were a little bit more prevalent. All right. Our own Jeremiah Shaver was busy last night participating in and covering the Red Ribbon Week rally. Okay. Well, there he is. And, of course, he
looks like a reporter.
That's the costume that he had, the old 50s style reporter with the suspenders and the hat. And there is a press card in that hat, too, that you might not be able to see. But it's right there in that fedora. Anyway, the Red Ribbon Week, it went all last week. And their big climaxing event was the Red Ribbon Rally. That involved a walking parade from the courthouse to Manpower Park. You can see some photos from that event.
Nice
which
police
was
escort
yesterday
there.
evening,
That's
right?
good.
Sheriff's Office leading the way. You can see a good many participants.
Love that.
They posed for a photo there on the courthouse steps. Then went to Manpower Park, and there were some activities there There was information, resources, a little bit of a program there. And of course, Red Ribbon Week, in case it doesn't ring any bells with you, it is to create awareness of the negative impact of addiction, to advocate for those who are addicted, and to provide information about resources that are available in the community.
Okay. Good.
And I wish it were different, but drug abuse, drug addiction, drug overdose deaths continued to be a scourge.
They do.
Not only here, but in many places, if not
Everywhere.
all places.
Yep.
Exactly. So we will have coverage of Red Ribbon Week in one of our next few editions.
Okay. That's great.
All right. I want to give props to our man, Alex Shope, our excellent editorial assistant, who is at the helm of processing a lot of the information that comes through. He does a lot of work on the website and with our copy management, which there's a lot of here, even at our small paper. And he is versatile and talented enough. I can send him out on about any story as a reporter too. And last week, he covered a visit by Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose to Jackson County. I think he stopped here, didn't he?
He stopped here, yeah.
Okay.
He sure did.
All right. Well,
Talked about election stuff.
right. His main visit, besides coming here, was to Montgomery Machine Shop and Fabrication, just down the road from us on Watts Blevins Road. And there you see Secretary LaRose holding an oversized wrench there on the left. And in the picture with him is Carrie Montgomery, the owner-operator of Montgomery's Machine Shop. And there's Jackson Mayor Randy Evans as well. And Carrie Montgomery, a lot of folks don't know this because it's not a government thing. He has been such an innovator and successful entrepreneur with that machine shop out there, really on the, no pun intended, on the cutting edge of a lot of the things in machine shop fabrication.
They have done some stuff for us at the brewery that I can't even explain how talented they are. I mean, just unbelievable stuff.
Right, and you won't meet a nicer man
No.
than Carrie,
Yeah.
a nicer,
He's wonderful.
unassuming, modest
Yes.
man than Carrie Montgomery. But Carrie was in the spotlight, justifiably so, because Secretary LaRose has really traveled all over the state this past month. October was manufacturing month, and he wanted to highlight some of the local stories, success stories in manufacturing.
That's
and
great.
in addition to the visit to Montgomery Machine Shop and Fabrication, he also visited the Phoenix Quality Manufacturing out on Beaver Pike, where they make the masks. So that was a week ago Monday, and we have Alex's excellent story going in our Wednesday print edition. He worked very hard on it, getting some background information.
What's the story on this flag, Pete?
The story on the flag, that flag was presented to Carrie Montgomery. Of course, he has the big oversized
Yeah,
flag
they always have that
everybody
huge
sees.
flag
I'm
out
not
there,
sure
yeah.
whether that flag's as big as that, but that flag, if I recall correctly, let me see if I could make sure I'm right on this. That flag was presented to a junior high school in West Virginia and had once flown over the famous USS Arizona, the memorial in Hawaii.
Wow.
And this was presented to Carrie Montgomery because one thing that Carrie has always promoted is patriotism through that big flag. I think he made the flagpole, of course. And that flag gets borrowed by some community organizations when they have some events where they want to show the patriotism and their big flag there. So that's pretty special, having a flag that was that flew over the USS Arizona.
It is. That's really neat.
All right. Okay. The 2022 general election is next Tuesday.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Get out and vote.
It is getting ever closer. Remember, the early voting period continues at all 88 boards of elections in the state, including the offices in Jackson County. Remember, it's at 25 East South Street in the rear of the Job and Family Services building. New location, new quotes. It's been 2 or 3 years, but it's hard to get used to because it's in a new place. Also, the Vinton County Board of Elections, which is in the Vinton County Community Building, has been for some time on the north edge of MacArthur. That's where you go to do early voting. They have extended hours this week, Jennifer. Monday through Friday on the weekdays this week, the elections office is open for early voting until 7 p.m. All right.
Oh, wow.
Opens at 8 a.m. each morning and closes not till 7 p.m. Normally it would be 4 or 4:30. Then on this Saturday, you can even go in and vote from 8 to 4, and on Sunday from 1 to 5. So
Okay.
you can even
You
go
have
in this
plenty of
weekend
time.
during those hours correctly, so you have no excuse not to vote. The final day to vote early will be on Monday, the day before the election. You can do that from 8 a.m. until 2. The election itself, same day election, is on November the 8th. Polls open, as always, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. We're going to have a lot of information about the local angles on the election in our Saturday edition, and maybe even some in our Wednesday edition. All of that has not been completed yet, but certainly in our Saturday edition, we'll have a bunch of wrap-up information about the election.
Do you just need your I don't know why I'm having trouble remembering this. Do you just need your ID, like your
You do have
photo
to.
ID?
You will always be asked through your ID. Most people, if they have a driver's license, it's that. But
And that's all you need, right?
right, that's all you need, and they will check. And then you'll have to sign the poll book, and they'll compare signatures and all like that. So it's easy. It's very easy to vote and quick.
Yep.
And they
If
have
you need help, they'll help you.
they have so many hours that, if you're thinking, I'll just go to the polls on election day, you're much less likely to stand in a line on the early voting.
Yep.
You can also vote absentee as well, get an absentee ballot and turn it in, no later
Sure.
than 7:30 p.m. on election night.
Yep.
So that's easy to do too. All right. Speaking of politics and the general election, Lisa Parker, who is the chairman of the Jackson County Democratic Party, announced yesterday, or that's when I received the announcement anyway, that 3 Democratic candidates for the Ohio Supreme Court will be in Jackson on Friday for a meet and greet event.
Okay.
That will be at La Rosa's Pizzeria from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. This is just not for party folks. This is for anybody who wants to meet and greet 3 women who would like to be elected to the state's highest court. They are Jennifer Bruner, former Ohio Secretary of State, if you remember her name.
I remember that name.
Yep, right. She is currently already a justice on the Ohio Supreme Court, but she is running for Chief Justice in this election.
Okay.
Marilyn O'Connor, the Republican who currently is in that seat, is retiring. She has to because of the age limits. You're not allowed to run after you're 70 as a judge in the state of Ohio.
Well, that's ridiculous. But anyway.
Well, anyway, they're doing that.
Just saying.
They don't do that for president, do they?
No.
All right. But anyway, what's going to happen is those 3 ladies, the other 2 candidates who are also running for justice positions are Marilyn Zayas and Terry Jamison. So, if you want to meet firsthand these candidates, you can do it. They're all involved in contested races with Republican candidates. And so, once again, they will be on your local ballots and throughout the state on November the 8th.
Okay.
All right. A couple of other things we want to talk about. Talk with Nancy Bays, and she is the director of the Jackson Food Program, which everybody still calls the Jackson Food Pantry.
Right. Exactly.
Down there at 323 Broadway Street. Well, they're going to do the community Thanksgiving dinner, but once again, it's not going to be that sit-down dinner that we got used to for so many years that was held at the old high school and now the new high school. COVID-19 changed things.
Sure.
The number of volunteers is a factor. The availability of Jackson High School is a factor as well because it's a big event, draws a big crowd.
Lots of people.
They are going to do, once again, it's the second, if not the third year that they've had to do it this way. It's going to be a takeout community Thanksgiving dinner where it's, the turkey's frozen and everything, but you have everything you need for a heat up, full course Thanksgiving dinner. But you've got to order it, and there's only 200 of them as of right now.
Okay.
So she started to accept orders on Monday, and so if you would like to do that, there's no income guidelines. It is supposed to be Jackson County residents. You can sign up for that by simply calling or dropping by the food program office. The pickup meal will include a frozen turkey. All the turkeys have been donated by Bellisio Foods. Grant money and donations make this project possible.
That's awesome.
It will have all the components of a sit-down style Thanksgiving dinner. And this is a long tradition in Jackson, and this is the best that we can do now. But, you will get the food, and that's the main thing. They will be reserved on a first-come, first-served basis. So she wanted to get the news out there because she was already getting requests about it before she was ready to announce it. So she wanted to have our help in announcing it. But what you need to do is either come by or call the Jackson Food Program office when it's open, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's not open every day of the week. You can call, listen to this number, 740-286-5937.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
740-286-5937 during the regular operating hours, which are 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So you have a limited window in there when to call because that's the regular hours for the food program. Secondly, first come, first serve. If they get 200 orders, unless somehow they get more food, that's going to be it. The deadline to order is Wednesday, November the 16th, if somehow they're not all taken by then. Because by then, they'll have to have to be prepared for the distribution. Next thing, the distribution. There's only one time when you can pick up the food. So keep your ears open. Monday, November the 21st, that's the Monday before Thanksgiving, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Family Life Center in Jackson. They will have a box or whatever that'll have the turkey and all the other food in it. There will be not only the food for a full Thanksgiving meal, family style, enough for a family, but they will also have additional food items in the box too, I'm told, that would be more than you would need for Thanksgiving. So it's all you need to do is call and order it. Then when you come to pick it up, they will want to see an ID to make sure that you're really the person who ordered it in the first place. She is appreciative of all the grant money and donations which have been provided to make this project possible. Once again, she appreciates Bellisio Foods, especially for the 200 turkeys, because if you're going to have a Thanksgiving dinner, you got to have a turkey, even if it costs more money this year. All right. So another nice event that occurred up in Vinton County. It's a statewide thing, but it happens in Vinton County, and really a local regional committee kind of got this going, and that is the Buckeye Hero Hunt, which is an archery hunt for whitetail deer, a special time over the weekend where you can sign up from all over the state, but the two criteria are you're a veteran and you're disabled. They give you special help and conveyances so you can get out in the woods in the Zaleski State Forest and have a chance.
It's a big deal.
To get a deer with archery. And this, of course, is a great service for the veterans. You can see the number of people that were involved there. I think that group involves not only the hunters who were chosen to participate, but also the sponsors and organizers who were involved. But all that took place in the Zaleski State Forest. I know that Jackson County Commissioner Paul Haller was one of the organizers of this. It's been going on several years now. And there were other people locally who helped make that happen in cooperation with the state, the Ohio Department of Resources, and Zaleski State Forest. So wonderful event that they held once again there as well. Of course, October was Fire Prevention Month, and a lot of the fire departments did educational programs in the schools. I think we showed a picture of what Madison Jefferson did earlier in the month. Well, the Jackson Fire Department and the Liberty Township Fire Department paid a visit to the elementary schools in Jackson last week. And last Friday, this is a picture from their visit to Northview Elementary School. And from left to right, you see the firefighters standing up. They are Brittany Reed, who is a first lieutenant for the Liberty Township Fire Department, Ryan Hill, who is a Liberty Township firefighter, Jackson Fire Chief David Channel, who seems to be everywhere doing good things in addition to fighting fires, and he's got a full-time business too, might I add. And Liberty Township Fire Chief Randy Baker there is on the far right. The reason that Ryan Hill dressed up like that, they wanted the kids to see, if they haven't seen before, maybe they haven't, what firefighter equipment and gear look like. So that, if they're ever around it, they won't be scared because, it is a little imposing there, that outfit with the helmet and all the gear and like that. But they did these educational programs. They had the fire truck there and everything. They did this at all the elementary schools in Jackson as well as CLA next week. And once again, that's firefighters donating their time to help the kids. They gave them fire prevention safety tips as well as providing education about about fire safety and things that they can do.
I'll bet they got to look at the truck too.
They did get to look at the truck.
I'll go look at the truck.
All right. Well, last weekend, as you know, was Halloween, and one of the big events, and this will be in our Wednesday paper.
Mhm.
We've already got this online too, as well, is the Wellston Lions Club's Halloween Parade and Costume Contest.
So cute.
This goes back. I didn't realize. I knew it went back a while, but you know that's 67 years.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
of course, the retired John Pelletier was emceeing it, as if he stays home and
like he sits around and eats
in the
bonbons all day
recliner.
long.
Right.
Sure.
And these are two of the
Look at
photos.
those.
We have more than that that are online and that will be printed in the paper, but those are two of the photos. One is the Judge's Choice Kids, and the other are the scariest.
So
picture,
that's first place scariest in the background with the baseball cap on, right?
okay. No, John, don't say that about that's
Poor John.
That's John Pelletier masquerading as a community servant. All right, all right. But those kids, since we have that picture up there, they're the scariest. So I figured that was a good representative shot. From the left, they are
Love
Hayden
that.
Steele, first place, Luke Wilbur, second place, Kobe Hudson, third place, and Madden Weiss, fourth place. And you got to admit, scary.
Yep. They're a
But
little
we'll
scary.
have complete coverage of that, online and in the print edition as well.
Mhm.
We also want to give props to the Oak Hill Festival of Flags, because they had a big Halloween shindig dance on Friday evening. We'll have something on that a little bit later in coverage. And they also organized the Parade of Mask and Costume Contest in conjunction with Trick or Treat last Sunday in Oak Hill. And of course, how many churches, organizations, and whatever did Trick or Treat events
A lot.
here the last couple weeks? It's just an amazing number.
Yes.
And of course, it was the last week for the Haunted Barn at the Jackson County Fairgrounds,
Which is huge.
right. They get such a great
Oh my
turnout for that.
gosh.
They charge $15 for that this year. I'm sure they put on a great show, and that is money that will help the fairgrounds.
Jeremiah said it was really spooky.
Right. Oh yeah, I've been to it before, and they scare you. They scare you, and some of those outfits they come up with, they do not disappoint. A couple of other events that occurred last week, I just want to acknowledge them. The Kiwanis Club had its spaghetti dinner at the Family Life Center. Here are four of the people who are on the front lines serving. You probably recognize them because they're all involved in the community. You've got Michael Perkins, Mike Gambino, Sue Jones, and Terry Turner left to right there. But they were just four of the Kiwanis members who were working hard for their spaghetti dinner. They do so much with the youth, especially
They
with the
do,
scholarships and
yes.
other things. So once again, that's the Jackson Area Kiwanis Club. Also, the Jackson Rotary Club held its pancake dinner.
Yes.
And here are four of the members of the from the left there, working with the pancake dough is April Eifler. We know her. We've had her on TV before. Erin Dill Daly, who's smiling there in front. She is the current Rotary president, by the way, in addition to being the 4-H educator down in Gallia County, former 4-H educator in Jackson County. Then not facing the camera, but there in the middle is Evan Cole. Then you have longtime Rotary Club Secretary Marshall Kimmel and his daughter Melissa Kimmel.
Cool.
So, of course, the Rotary Club in Jackson donates their time, buys all the materials and ingredients that they need to put on this pancake supper, which involves pancakes, sausages, beverages, and some other things as well.
Yep.
They only charge $5 for it, less for kids. It's a
Exactly.
great community event. Really a big crowd at the Jackson Senior Citizen Center. Auctioneer Pat Ball does an art auction afterwards, auctioning off art done by senior citizens themselves. All the money goes to the senior citizens.
Yep.
Speaking of the senior citizens and pancake suppers, the Wellston Rotary Club will have its senior citizen pancake dinner, very similar to what Jackson does.
So you
this
can do it
Thursday.
again.
You can do it again.
Nice.
And it will be at the Wellston Senior Citizen Center on New York Avenue this Thursday, once again from 4:30 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. Tickets only $5 each. Pre-sale tickets are now available at the Senior Center and at Lockhart Insurance. I believe that's on Ohio Avenue in downtown Wellston. You can go also on the day of the event and get a ticket as well. Okay, Barbara Wasmer wants me to announce that the Scouting for Food project will be going on again starting this Saturday in both Jackson and Vinton counties.
Okay.
This will involve some of the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and
Sure.
Cub Scouts in the two counties. And what they will do is this weekend, Saturday, they will be leaving empty plastic food bags on porches and so forth.
Yes.
And the idea is, what they hope is, that the next Saturday when they come back to pick up the bag, the residents will fill them with
You fill it with
non-perishable
stuff.
food items, cans
Yes.
and so forth, boxes of non-perishable stuff that they will then donate to the food pantries. This is a good turn that they do. It'll take place once again the next 2 Saturdays. They'll be leaving empty bags at residences on Saturday the 5th, and then picking them up on Saturday the 12th. Donations can also be dropped off at the CVS in Oak Hill, at the Christ United Methodist Church in Jackson, at the Hope United Methodist Church in Wellston, and then at the Renovate Life Church in MacArthur. That information also online and will once again be in our paper on Wednesday. So try to help out the Scouts and by extension, a lot of people in the county who have food insecurity and need some help.
And there's a lot.
Just with the very basics. Fire hydrant flushing is going on in Jackson. It started last Wednesday. We will continue for 4 weeks. So they started on the south end of town and we're working towards the north. But when they're in your neighborhood, you will probably notice discolored water. Just let it run for a little bit until it runs clear as far as the drinking and the laundry use there. All right, the Hope United Methodist Church will be having a free turkey dinner this Wednesday. They always do twice a month a community lunch or a community dinner. And of course, it's November, so we got the turkey dinner. This will be an evening thing this Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. The church is located on 1st Street, New York Avenue. This is for the public. Anybody can come, get a takeout meal, or sit down and eat. It's just a nice community outreach thing that the church has done. They've always done it. They had to cease it during COVID, but they started back up earlier in the year.
Okay.
All right. Don't forget to fall backward this weekend.
Finally.
This is Daylight Savings Time weekend. That's officially at 2 a.m. on Sunday.
Makes it a little harder to get up when it's dark outside.
Right, exactly. And you want to turn your clock back to 1.
And you get an hour.
Instead of springing forward, you're falling back, and so you get an extra hour of sleep.
Whoop, whoop.
And you need to put in 25 hours of effort that day.
Yes.
But you'll lose that back in the spring, so
I know.
you need to take advantage of it. Okay, we're getting near the end of our hour, so we've got to talk about the sports.
We do.
We had 2 teams in playoff action last Friday, 1 won and 1 lost, but it's certainly an honor to get to the playoffs no matter what. The Vinton County Vikings made the long trip up to Columbus East. Here is a shot from an action shot from from that game. Red Thompson Jr. made the long trip up there and took some photos, and our own Brock Netter wrote the story up, of course, online already. Here's another shot from that game as well. But East defeated Vinton County 34-14. It was a good game at halftime. East only led 12-7, but East is a very talented City League team there. Vinton County had 3 turnovers in the second half, and that kind of doomed any chances they had to pull off an upset. East was the higher seeded team, which means they were higher ranked. You got to play the game, but they were favored to win, and they did 34-14. Meanwhile, down here in Jackson, the Jackson Ironmen march forward. They are the second seed team, which there are 16 teams seeded, and they are number 2, only 1 team ranked ahead of them. This was, I believe, Cade Wofford scoring a touchdown in that game. This was against Miami Trace. I honestly expected a much closer game, but it turned out
Boy, they whipped them up pretty good.
It turned out 44-7. It was much closer the first time these 2 teams played in the regular season. And that's Cade again, I believe. He had a long run along the sideline, and there he is, avoiding a tackle right at the goal line, scoring another touchdown.
The first photo was labeled Jacob Winters.
Okay, that
and
was
this
Jacob
one is Cade Wolford.
Okay. Didn't see the number, but I'm glad you pointed that out, James.
Okay.
Not only for accuracy, but we should mention Jacob Winters because he is an Ohio University recruit. He's on a scholarship. He's just not a walk-on over there.
That's right.
So you see how highly rated he is. That young man, I can't confirm it yet, but I believe that he will establish new passing records, career and single season at Jackson this year. And
Hey, you got the best stat man this side of the Mississippi, so
Right.
you would know.
Okay, well, I from the numbers I know and what I've gathered, and the fact that in the past teams usually ran, they didn't pass. This team can do both. Winters played a big role in all of our victories, and he scored a touchdown. He scored the first touchdown of the game actually against Miami Trace to start the ball rolling. But Jackson will continue on the playoff trek, and they will be home Once again, that's a perk of being so highly seeded.
It is.
They will be playing, though, a much higher ranked team, the Granville Blue Aces. They are out of Licking County near Newark. It's where Denison University is.
It is.
And Jackson played Granville in 2018 in the playoffs, and Granville handed Jackson one of the worst defeats it's had in recent history, 38-7.
Ouch.
So this year,
payback
Jackson is
time.
rated above Granville, but Granville is very good again. They only lost 2 games all year. One of them is the Columbus Bishop Watterson, which is one of the strong teams in our whole area. They were upset in another game, which can happen. But that game will be 7 p.m. this Friday. Of course, it'll be on the radio. We're going to have we're going to have a pregame article in our Wednesday paper that Brock Netter is working on. And, of course, coverage of both playoff games from last Friday. Those playoff game write-ups are already online. Can't emphasize enough about going online to get the news even quicker than what we can give it to you on the print edition.
Right.
And when you get a subscription to the print edition, it comes with the digital. So take advantage of it.
Exactly.
So
Sign up.
So once again, we'll be covering, of course, Friday night's ball game. And one of the neat things about this ball game on Friday night, Jennifer, is that some community sponsors have stepped forward, including Stockmeister Construction Services here in our own building. They have donated money so that students can, in the Jackson City School District, or at least some of them, can attend the game free.
Okay.
That is a deterrent because these playoff games cost more. You got to go online to get the ticket.
Yeah.
So, it makes it a little bit harder for the income challenged students
Sure does.
and the students that, aren't computer savvy or whatever, their families aren't computer savvy. You need that good students cheering section there. And so any student, high school, middle school, elementary school, can participate. And they've made this a win-win thing. Not only do the kids get in thanks to these community donors, including Stockmeister Construction Services, but the students, all they're asked to do is to donate 1 or 2 canned food or non-perishable
There
food
you
items,
go.
and that will go to the food pantries. So, they ought to be able to do that much.
I think so.
So, very exciting week here in Jackson. There were 16 teams in our region. Now there are 8. Jackson has never gone further than the regional final. They're not at the regional final yet. This is a quarterfinal. If they're fortunate enough to beat Granville, and it's kind of a toss-up, they would play another tough team the next week, and that would be on a neutral field. After this week, they're all on a neutral field. The other 2 teams, by the way, in the bracket opposite Jackson and Granville are London and Columbus Bishop Watterson.
Okay.
And both of those teams are excellent.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens there. But congratulations to the Vikings on their great season. That was the second straight year they reached the playoff. And next year, Oak Hill and Wellston, which both had losing seasons, but young teams with new coaches. We hope for much better things for them next year, for the experience that they gained this year. Finally, we want to congratulate our cross-country teams who finished their season this last Saturday.
Okay.
The teams that competed and individuals that competed last Saturday reached the regional. The next step would have been the state. None of them qualified for the state. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's great to get to the regional. The 2 teams that participated in the regional that qualified were the Vinton County boys and the Jackson boys. Also, individually, Nevaeh Newton of the Vinton County girls qualified as an individual, and Walker Foble of the Oak Hill boys qualified as an individual on the boys' side. So congratulations to all of them, the teams and individuals on the cross-country side.
Good job.
So there we are.
Lots of talent in our area.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Pete, you can take a breath now. You did real well, and lots and lots of stuff going on in the news today. So I'm sure there will be more later on in the week.
We'll
So
be
keep
working on it.
Yes, you will be. All right. Well, looks like we're out of time, Pete.
We made it.
We made it. So thank you for spending your morning with us. We know you're always busy. And thank you, James, for pushing all the buttons. And we will be right back here tomorrow. We have a month full of a lot of guests already. And so we're looking forward to bringing you a lot of fun news and community events coming up the month of November. So have a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.